Good evening, everyone. Welcome to TCS ION workshop on assessments and the new normal. This is Darshan. I head marketing for the higher education segment at TCS ION. With this, I would like to introduce Krishnan CA, who is our business unit head for higher education at TCS ION. Krishnan carries rich experience across geographies in the US, Europe, and in India, working closely with Fortune 500 clients across industry verticals such as banking, telecom, manufacturing, retail, and education. Krishnan has held several leadership positions in strategy, business development, delivery, and products, and has been part of TCS ION right from its inception. With a keen understanding of client priorities and a deep domain knowledge of key industries, Krishnan has conceptualized several new products, platforms, and services in Tata Consultancy Services that have helped global clients reimagine their business and drive value creation for their consumers. Welcome, Krishnan. Over to you for the context setting and welcome.
Thank you, Darshan, for that warm introduction. And let me take this opportunity to welcome all the key dignitaries, leaders from higher education institution, our partners who have joined this webinar. Before I get started, I wish and pray that and trust that all is well, given this unprecedented pandemic that we have faced over the last few months. And I really hope that things are fine with all of you. Today, we're going to talk about assessments in the new normal. Clearly, the pandemic has disrupted many business processes in a higher education institution. And at TCS ION, we are deeply committed to support our partners and ensure that assessments and all dimensions of running a higher education institution is effectively supported. And we continue to deliver value to the student community. There exists significant amount of anxiety among students. And at TCS ION, we are working very closely with our partner institution to ensure that the disruption is effectively handled. Today, we're going to talk about how we are transforming assessment, how we have conducted some very high stake assessments when it comes to admission test as well as end semester exams. And I hope to take a lot of your questions, talk about these case studies, what is the value that we have delivered, show you the platform. But before I get started, or before we get started, I would like to give you a broad sense of what we are doing and how we are partnering with institutions in India. And broadly speaking, we are looking at 4 areas of transformation. At the heart and core of what we do is learning transformation. We believe that today's academic curriculum needs a touch of industry design and industry delivered courses, especially in trending domains that have deep integration of hands-on skill, internship, and finally placements amongst top corporates. And we have made a very strong beginning in this space by bringing and touching more than 8 million learners, launching over 50,000 courses. And the idea here is not just look at learning, but look at employability, look at placements, and look at it much more holistically. The other dimension of transformation, which we are going to talk extensively today, is assessment. And assessment is about delivering credibility to the learning as well as certificates that you are awarding to your students, and also help institutions tap into the talent pool in the country, which is very spread across, especially during admission tests. The pandemic has created a lot of challenges, but there is no challenge that is too hard for technology to solve and for a partner like TCS to solve. Till date, we have done over 250 million assessments. And in this experience that we have gathered doing so many assessments over the last few years, we have come to view that technology is not the differentiator. Today, many clients come back to us having tried different other solutions or internally homegrown solution, because they understand that it's not just the technology that we bring on the table, it is the processes, it is the people, and it is the sheer amount of experience that ensures that the anxiety of conducting high stake assessment is reduced for our partners. And that has helped us ensure that assessments are conducted in a transparent, secured manner with minimum or no malpractices. The third very important dimension is whatever we do, we want to deliver outcomes to the lives of students. We always ask, what is the impact that we created? And you're all aware of the TCS NQT, which is a product that we launched 2 years back. And we have been able to touch over 5.5 lakh students who have been credentialed and have been part of our database. Over 11 lakh registrations for TCS NQT has happened over these years. And we are also working in building career skills program that will help students prepare for TCS NQT, as well as build a pool of pre-certified talent through our learning programs. And not only that, today we are extending TCS NQT, and I'm happy to inform that over 150 corporates are looking at TCS NQT to hire apart from TCS. The last dimension of transformation is operations transformation. And this is about digitizing your institution and your learning processes so that students get the best experience. Your faculty time is freed up. As a management, you get the right reports to run your institution smoothly. And thousands of institutions have leveraged our platform to digitize their processes, bring in global best practices, and ensure that their operations runs smoothly. The key message that I want to leave you with is we have seen lot of players in this space, in education space in particular, but we are still yet to come across a single player who does all these dimensions of transformation. And the way I look at it is, if we have to transform education, we have to work on all these pillars, not just one of them. And that is why more than 90% of institutions who talk to us, who are our today partners, are dealing with us in more than one of these transformation listed on this slide. And this is very important, and it's our mission to ensure that we look at the education space holistically and become your partner of choice on all of these dimensions. Today, we're going to specifically focus on assessment, and we're going to cover some of the key differentiating aspects of our point of view on how you can run assessment smoothly. What are some of the challenges? What are some of the case studies in terms of how we have delivered impact? And we'll see some demo of the platform and then finally take your questions. So with that, I will turn it back to Darshan. Thank you once again for joining today's webinar.
Thanks, Christian. So with this, I would like to introduce Ajay Parashar, our service practice head for assessments, to kind of go over assessments transformation overview. Over to you, Ajay.
Thank you, Diwakar, and thank you, Christian, for setting that context. I think remote assessment or assessment is an area which we really don't need to dwell much into in terms of understanding what that entails for us. From TCS ION perspective, as Krishnan was mentioning, we are in a transfer journey where we are trying to reimagine the different aspects of the entire learning ecosystem. And assessments in the current pandemic situation takes a different dimension altogether. That how do we ensure that we are not only imparting education to the students, but are also evaluating them in the best possible. And that is where TCS ION started this journey of reimagining the entire remote assessment landscape. So just a quick view in terms of what we have been doing so far. So for last 1 year, I would say pretty much after the lockdown was announced last year in March-April timeframe, we have been regularly working on the remote assessment work. And we have been able to deliver some exponential values, not only in terms of speed in which we are able to create a platform and bring our multiple ecosystem products together, but also scale up to considerable extent. So like from simple thing like we were able to conduct an exam for 35,000 candidates in single shift, which is difficult for the business to do right now. But we were able to do that in a very short span of time. Along with speed and scale, what TCS ION brings to table in terms of remote assessment is the security aspect and the experience. The experience comes from the digital assessment that we have been doing for over 10 years now. in form of in-centers or physical examination, as we call them. And security in terms of bringing the modern day technology capabilities like artificial intelligence and machine learning to understand how candidates are behaving when we are taking their when we are proctoring them remotely, raising alert on that, giving a message to the proctors that they need to evaluate, look at some videos carefully, so that we give every student a fair chance of demonstrating or assessing them. Our main objective when we are talking about remote assessment is to bring the time-tested leadership capability of TCS iON in digital assessment space to the remote assessment space, and ensure that there is a delivery certainty and there is a credibility maintained in the assessment that are being conducted on this. With that, I'll move on to the next part of it, which is essentially just a quick glimpse on what is our overall capability when we say digital assessment. So, as I said, we have been conducting digital assessment for last 10 to 15 years now. And just a quick snapshot of that, we have been able to, in this 10 years, there are some 253 million candidates that have been evaluated on TCS iON digital assessment platform, which is a phenomenal number, given the fact that TCS iON is nearly conducting some 95% of digital assessments that are happening in India. We have capability to support 15 regional languages, Hindi, English, Urdu, Marathi, Konkani, Assami, Bengali, Telugu. So all the recognized languages we have support on. We have our own exam venues in 709 cities, with international venues also covered in that. All the union territories and the states, we have a presence in form of a test center there. We have centers in Andaman and Nicobar Islands. We have centers in Karavatti, Lakshadweep. We have centers in Leh. That just goes on to show that from TCS perspective, when we talk about a transformation journey or reimagining a certain ecosystem, we are not taking a small step. We are going all out to do whatever is required to achieve the transformation. And in this journey of transformation, we are really honored to be partnered with institutes like National Testing Agency, which are conducting IIT entrance exams. We are partnered with IBPS, or Institute of Banking Person Selection, which do the recruitment and promotional exam for all the banks in India. We conduct a common entrance exam, CAT, every year on TCS iON platform. The staff selection commission examinations, those are conducted on. These are just few of the names. The NETSIL Education Council is there. These are just few of the names that we are engaged with from long-term perspective. Can you move on to the next one session? Coming from that remote assessment, as I said, the remote assessment in true sense, we started from last year. So while the numbers here would look very small in when we compare it with the numbers that we have from digital assessment space. However, the digital assessment space we started 10 years back. Remote assessment got started exactly a year back in May 2020. Within that short period of 1 year, from zero remote assessment or remote proctored assessment being conducted in the country, we have been able to conduct exam for some 196 organizations. These are a mix of corporate customers. These are educational institutes that we are working with. We are helping corporates recruit their fresh batch of associates working with them. And when I say corporate, I'm including TCS also in that. We are helping institutes like NMIMS or Allahabad University conduct their semester exam or entrance exams. So we have been able to cover some 17 lakh candidates in the last 1 year alone. And to enable that to happen, the candidates have been given a full open access to the system from the which you can visualize that 17 lakh candidates have given somewhere around 31 million opportunities or attempts in the examinations in the system. This is just to help them understand how the system is going to behave, what would their experience be, how they are going to deal with the system. Now coming to the candidate experience, if you can move to the next slide, please. So when we talk about remote assessment, there are few things that immediately came to our mind last year when we started with it. That we need to, education is something which cannot be stopped. It needs to continue. We need to have a process set, some system defined through which we can take in new students. We can have a semester or end exams taken on a regular basis. Knowing that our students and candidate base is all spread across now, they are no longer in predefined cities. We need to give them a capability that they can take the exam from anywhere, from any type of system. Location and the device should not be a hindrance for them. And at the same time, we should be able to conduct it securely, giving everybody an equal opportunity. Having said that, few things which we brought forward from our digital assessment, and we recognize that yes, remote assessment cannot be different from them, is support to different varieties of questions. Be it simple short answer type questions where candidates are writing a essay or a response in the computer system itself, or conducting it in a phygital manner, where the questions are shown to the candidates remotely on a system. They are writing their responses on an answer sheet, which are getting scanned and uploaded in the testing engine. And then the evaluators are going ahead and evaluating those responses. To the traditional computer-based assessment covering MCQ type of questions, fill in the blank type of question, different varieties of questions that possibly we can think of. So we have these all things we thought and worked on that, and we created our capabilities to address those needs. So the first thing that came was content authoring. How do we create? How do I ensure that my question paper is created? My different type of question types are created. So we bring to table content authoring engine, which allows us to create different type of questions, different type of content. We have a very robust examination platform, which has been time and tested again. As I said, for last 10 years, we have been conducting. The same platform capability has been extended to the new normal requirement of conducting it remotely. Along with that, we brought in proctoring capability. That was a new capability that we developed, where not only humans can look at the candidate's video and proctor them and ensure that it is a fair assessment going on, but we also brought in AI/ML machine-based proctoring element, which can alert the human proctors whenever something is missed by them. Then in terms of evaluation, be it auto scaling, scoring, or remote scoring, or remote supervision, that capability we bring from our platform. Post-exam, once the exam is conducted, how do we grade the candidates? What are the different parameters? Do we provide a capability to the candidates to view their performance with respect to other students who are there? We have that capability, and we can provide different type of analytics, different type of reports, different type of dashboards, which help education institute or a candidate understand how they perform and take remedial steps or next steps as it is suited to them. In terms of system and network capability, as I said, our platform is quite versatile, where any desktop or a laptop which a candidate has or an Android device they can be supported on it. We don't have a fixed bandwidth requirement that we require some X Mbps of bandwidth to support the assessment. Our solution is capable enough to work on varied bandwidth available at the candidate's end. It can be as long as whatever our video proctoring demands are there, as long as the system or the network is able to support that, we are good to go. There is no minimum bandwidth requirement from our perspective. Now, those are in terms of capability that we bring to table here, in terms of what, how the remote assessment can be. And that helps the life of the institute or the education society or the university, making it simple. From candidate perspective also, we have designed it in such a way that it is a total of 4-step process for the candidate to take an examination in remote. Starting with candidate application, which in case of education institute would be education institutes sending TCS the details of the candidate, which subject they need to appear for. That is all that is required. From there, we enable the candidates to check the infrastructure right there. A normal a link is sent to the candidates. Mock is created for them, where they can validate their login credentials, which they are going to use for the actual exam. They can check that their system which they are going to use has the required capability to support our iLeon app, which is a secured mode in which we can take the exam. They can check the internet bandwidth, is it adequate or not? And they can check the camera capability, and if we are doing voice analytics, whether they have mic enabled or mic support in their system. So it's a very simple check that candidates have to perform, which we normally do 2 to 3 days in advance of the examination, so that if something has to be changed at candidate end, they can make the necessary arrangement. When it comes to actual exam, there is a process, a very simple process of self-registration, which acts like a attendance taking system in remote mode. Normally, when we go for an exam in a center, you would have a candidate go through an elaborate registration process where their thumb impression is taken, biometrics is taken, their photograph is captured, their roll number is checked, their admit card is checked. Now, in remote assessment, we can have all these complex capabilities built in, but it would further confuse the candidate life cycle of taking an assessment, for simple reason that I can do a remote biometric capture of a candidate, but does that really help me? Does that help the candidate in some way? We can have our thoughts on that. So we created a very simple self-registration process where candidate is asked to click on 5 photographs of their and upload a scanned copy of their ID. That is all the candidate is required to do to complete the self-registration. And then they are good to start their examination, complete the examination and submit it. So we have tried to make it as simple as possible from the candidate perspective too. So at one end, we have the capability to support different aspects of assessment, which is the backend work that needs to be done. On the candidate side also, it's a very simple user interface plus the journey ecosystem that has been created. From the candidate perspective, as I said, we have broken down the entire assessment into 2-stage process. First is the infrastructure readiness check, which I briefly talked about earlier, where we are trying to help candidate ensure that they have the right infrastructure. When we say right infrastructure, there are 3 things that we essentially ask the candidate to check. Do they have the camera, which is in a working condition? Do they have the right internet speed? Why internet is required? Because real time, their videos are going to be transmitted to the data centers where proctors can look at it. Real time basis, they'll get the questions. Their responses would be saved. So there, in case of a failure, say power failure is there, the continuity of their exam is maintained. And since we are doing a secured mode of assessment, we need to be very sure that there are no softwares on the candidate's system which are going to stop our iLeon app. So those are the infrastructure readiness checks that we ask the candidate to carry out as part of IRC or infrastructure readiness check. As part of this process, candidate have access to a technical help desk support. It can be through an email or a voice support. It can be through a chat support. It can be a help desk ticketing or querying system. So we have all the three modes covered there when it comes to providing the technical support to the candidate. So if candidate, and they have the entire day or 2 days to conduct this infrastructure readiness. And as part of creating a full transparency and visibility of how effectively the IRC check is going on. At the end of a day, our team would be publishing a detailed dashboard which would talk about how many candidates were able to successfully take, how many candidates logged a ticket, whether their issues were resolved or not. And that helps any institute take a informed decision on what are the next steps to be taken. Advantage with remote assessment is we have a lot of agility in terms of changing our plan even in a one-day notice. Now, once we have done the infrastructure readiness check, where we have ensured that the candidate is in a position to take the assessment from the system, we run them through a dry run check, which in other words is a mock exam that we give to them. So while infrastructure, we were focused on candidate taking up the exam, equipping themselves with the process of starting the exam. That after login, what step 1, 2, 3, 4, what they have to do. In DRC check, our recommendation always is that we conduct a mock assessment for all the candidates. So we'll give them an actual question paper which is same in structure and composition as the final question paper, which they are going to appear for in the actual exam. They would have to spend the same amount of time taking the assessment. If it is a 2-hour exam, they would have to sit through the entire 2-hour period, take up that mock assessment. The intention here is, first intention from candidate perspective is make them acquainted with the question paper structure. That this is how the question is going to be structured. This is how the software is going to behave. While we are doing this dry run check from candidate perspective, on the backend side, we are also doing our own check. That what is the type of concurrent loads are we able to take? Is there, if I have 20,000 candidates logging in, is it going to create a problem for proctoring? Are my proctors able to check all the videos? Are they able to receive all the videos? Now, somebody, we might feel that why do we need to do those checks? Aren't our system capable? Yes, we are 100% confident on our own systems to do these things. However, these are software components. From an examination preparedness perspective, these are the risk items that we need to take upon that yes, everything is working. And even if we don't do a DRC, we'll be able to manage that. And at the end, we do publish a dashboard of it. Moving forward on that part, once we have conducted one common question that typically comes, that when we are doing proctoring, what is the level of security that we are bringing? Are we just having one flavor of proctoring? I would say no. From remote assessment perspective, we start with the basic security level, which is no proctoring. We allow candidate to take exam anywhere using browser interface. There is no video captured. There is absolutely nothing that we are doing to monitor the candidate. All we are doing is enabling a candidate to answer questions and submit the responses. Second, and while I'm saying that there is no level of security, if I'm using my launcher, then candidate cannot do any cheating with respect to opening up a different website or taking help from somebody to answer those questions. They cannot mirror their laptops, so all those checks and balances are there. Only thing is there is no external intervention. Systemic interventions are there, but no external intervention. Second level of proctoring is the low level of proctoring, where we have basic proctoring level available. Using our iLeon launcher, we are locking the candidate system and then allowing the candidate to take. We enhance this security level by offering human-based proctoring. So now the candidate system is going to be transmitting the videos on a near real-time basis based on predefined frequencies and based on predefined duration of the video, which are getting transmitted to our data centers. There are human proctors who are going through each and every feed which is coming in, observing candidates' behavior there, and using the means that will demonstrate subsequently, taking an action based on candidates' behavior. And the highest level of proctoring, most secured way of proctoring is machine proctoring. So when we say machine proctoring, now all these steps are built on top of each other. So when I say machine proctoring, I'm having a human proctor plus low level of proctoring, which is secured mode of assessment. On top of that, we have our AI/ML engine running, which is analyzing every video which is coming from candidate system to check for abnormalities and raising an. The type of abnormalities that we check is, if you recall, I mentioned about the self-registration process, that a candidate would have to submit 5 photographs as part of self-registration. Those 5 photographs act as a basis of setting up identity of that candidate, that this candidate or this person who has submitted the 5 photographs is the person who is supposed to take the exam. Basis that, we will, during the entire course of exam, the AI engine would continue monitoring whether it is the same candidate sitting there in front of the PC. It would keep checking if there is anybody else in the vicinity of the. So if there is somebody sitting close to the candidate, it would get detected. Alert would be raised that there are multiple faces detected. We would be checking if the candidate's video face is partially visible, and an alert would be raised, because many a time it can happen that candidates are hiding their face and in front of camera, and they are talking to someone. We have capability to identify gadgets, mobile phone and headphone. We have capability to do voice analytics if voice is getting captured from candidates, and that is the highest level of proctoring that we have. Moving on. So in terms of this is just to give you a glimpse of what all critical capabilities we have in terms of remote proctoring. So we have dedicated proctors mapped to candidate. Typically, a proctor would have not more than 10 to 15 candidates mapped to them. There would be a timestamp on every video and image feed which is coming in, so that we can, in case of a discrepancy, we can always go back to a specific time and point out that there was a problem in this particular. We can hide the question content of the candidate in case there is a sensitivity involved there. So the candidate is never going to see the entire question paper in one. Then during the case of registration, we can provide the capability of a proctor approving candidates admission to the exam. So all the photographs and the ID proof would go to a particular to the proctor, who would ensure that the ID, the picture in the ID and the photograph submitted are same, and then only allow the candidate to move. We can conduct hands-on programming assessment in this mode, and proctors are continuously monitored. They are monitoring candidates' feed. We get to know what all alerts are getting raised by AI/ML, and AI/ML act as a decision point for the proctors to take an action. So those are some of the critical capabilities that we are bringing on with respect to the remote assessment. One of the important aspect of remote assessment, as I touched upon briefly during earlier talk, was in terms of allowing institute to conduct a phygital examination, which when I say phygital examination in remote mode, it is a combination of candidate responding on a piece of paper, and this answer they are submitting in a digital mode and are getting recorded or evaluated in a digital. To enable this phygital mode of examination, we, along with remote assessment, we bring in another component of ours, which is called as digital marking solution. So digital marking solution or digital marking hub. It is and this is one of the most robust platform you would find, which allows a marker or a evaluator to evaluate an answer book in a digital mode without having the need to download the PDF or the copy on their local machine or do anything else. They can, using a single interface, be it the essay type questions which candidates are typing, not writing but typing in the as a response, that can be evaluated. The scanned PDF copies can be evaluated. We use the same interface when we are doing a LAN-based assessment, and we can have multiple gateways configured. It is available to the markers 24/7, so there is no restriction that during a specified time only they can evaluate the responses submitted by candidate. But anytime, as per their capability, as per their visibility, availability, as per their devices which they have access to, they can conduct the evaluation of the responses given by candidates. As part of this solution, we define a question paper structure with checks and balances to ensure that all the questions have been answered by candidates and they have been evaluated. There are reporting analytics dashboard associated with the marking up, which helps us get a complete picture of in what stage our evaluation process is. It is one of the most groundbreaking product that we have come up with, and is available with the remote assessment platform. And I won't take much time on the remote assessment part. I think it would be important that we go through the demo of the entire system, how it actually looks like. And before that, I would just like to talk about two of the case studies, just to reinforce on what we have been talking about. So one of the deemed university in Maharashtra, last year only we had, I would say, the full play of services being implemented there, right from application management to candidate allocation, question paper management, question paper creation, conduct of remote assessment, technical help desk support. All those things were merit list preparation, post-exam analytics to identify which candidate has done, has taken the assessment fairly, who has been involved in unfair means. Identifying all those things, the entire government of services were offered to this particular university in Maharashtra, and it was a very successful exercise that got completed in 3 days process. As part of this process, we incorporated things like sending SMS and email to candidates on a regular basis that your IRC is going to start in so and so time. This is your user ID password. So basic communication through SMS, detailed communication to educate them on remote assessment. And the reason we are talking about this particular case study is this was the first large-scale implementation of remote assessment that we did last year. And it was a tremendous success, not only from TCS perspective, but more importantly from the university perspective, because they were able to kickstart their academic calendar, academic session by identifying the right set of candidates. On similar ground, recently we are carrying out the physical examination for a university in Uttar Pradesh, and this is one of the biggest universities in India, with 40,000 plus candidates appearing for 850 subjects, making a total of some 2.5 lakh assessments. So it's a semester end examination that we are conducting. We started it in April, just before lockdown was started. And unfortunately, due to some circumstances, it was stopped for a brief period of a week. And after that, we resumed it. And currently, the highlight of this was that we enabled the candidate to answer their answer in papers. So they were responding on papers. The questions were displayed on the screen. Then they were able to scan those responses, the paper responses they have written, and upload it back into the system. From the system, this flowed into Digital Marking Hub for digital evaluation, and currently that evaluation is going. We are towards the end of this particular examination, and within a week's time, the university would have completed their entire semester exam, which most of the universities currently are struggling with in the most secured and speedy manner. And we really didn't had to devote too much time or take too much time from candidates or the university officials to prepare for this. We did a mock just 3 days prior to the exam, which gave a sense of how the system is going to behave from the candidate perspective. And we were good to go there. So with that, I think I'll put to rest my talk. I'll have my colleague Karan walk us through, demonstrate how the entire solution is going to look like. And then we can take the questions and answers. So what do you
Thanks, Ajay.
Yeah, thank you, Ajay, and thank you, Darshan. Good evening and a very warm welcome to all. And I hope my voice is audible to you all. As Ajay mentioned over the course of the presentation, the remote assessment, when that is being created through the system, it is nothing but the internet-based assessment. So once the configuration team takes care of creation of the assessment, this is how a typical URL looks like, which is shared with the candidates. And once they use this URL, all they have to do is they need to copy and paste it on a browser and click on enter. And the login screen, as you can see on my screen, it opens, wherein they will be prompted or given the window to enter their username followed by the password and click on login to enter into the instance wherein they can start giving the assessment. Before that, a quick note that we also have a live chat feature which they can leverage, or which the institute or the university can have this feature enabled for the candidates. It works like a simple chat box. Once it opens and you enter your problem faced and type in the basic details and click on send, the agent available online at that point in time will respond to this candidate query so that it is easily resolved and they need not worry before the assessment is getting started in case of any technical issues that they are facing. So I'll enter the username and password here and click on login. So once you log in, there are 3 tabs as you can see on screen. One is the application summary. It gives a few details of the candidate. Next is the online assessment tab, which has 3 sub tabs. The current assessment, which you can see on screen. There are 2. One is the RA demo 2021, other being RPA demo 2021. Configured for the purpose of this demonstration. Help desk is another important feature that can be used, again optional. If required, we can have this enabled during the course of assessment. And if it works as a ticketing based system. When you click on it, all you have to do is the candidate, they have to select the appropriate problem category, the type of the problem, followed by the statement, as elaborative or specific they can be, and any relevant or available screenshot. If they want to upload, they can upload it and click on submit. What happens is after they click on submit, it generates a ticket ID, which is then resolved by the our help desk team who are available for this particular assessment. So moving on back to the online assessment tab. So current, upcoming and completed. These are the 2 which are current and scheduled here. One is the remote assessment RA demo 2021. When we click on this launch button, typically for a normal assessment where there is no proctoring or security level enabled, this we show it for the purpose of demonstration, where we can display how the candidate console looks like. And the other one is the RPA demo, which takes the candidate through a specific journey before they, get into the instance of the examination screen, which is very important in terms of conducting a proctored assessment. So we'll move on to the second one first, followed by we'll actually show you what exactly happens when the candidate clicks on launch button after following all these processes. So this is the name of the assessment, and the other parameters that you can configure on screen is the total marks of the assessment, the passing mark, how many attempts the candidate can take, for this particular assessment. 99 is the max count, and we can configure as per the requirement of the customer. So when I click on launch, so for a proctored assessment, it takes the candidate to a self-registration and candidate consent page, wherein all they have to do is, as as Ajay was explaining, that they will be prompted to click 5 self-registration images, which will act as a base reference for the system to. I believe I will have to stop the video, which is currently being shared on the WebEx session, because it is asking for the camera settings. Just give me a second.
It would like it would take an exclusive control of the camera, since you
Exactly,
have
yeah.
yeah. So you can
So
pause your video feed for some time.
yeah, that is what I'm doing right away, Ajay. Mm. Yeah, so that's how it works. As you can see, I'm seeing myself on screen, and the system is prompting me to click 5 photographs of myself. So this green icon camera is what I have to use to start clicking the 5 images, which will act as a base for the system to, identify once the candidate actually starts giving the assessment, and that image of the candidate is then compared with these self-registration images to generate the system-based alerts based on AI/ML technology. So I'll quickly click these 5 images. And I have to give my consent by clicking on this checkbox and then click on validate. Next is again the configurable and optional thing. We can also capture the photo identity card of the candidate. In this instance, I'll show my photo ID on screen and capture this and click on save. So this you can see on screen that it is prompting the candidate or giving them the details that the proctor will be assisting shortly. This particular assessment is where the proctor approval is required before the candidate is redirected to the next step, and which is precisely what we will be seeing right now. So it's a for a proctor, it's a simple browser-based activity that he needs to perform, and with the click of few icons or buttons on screen, he should be good to go and approve the candidate. This is the particular assessment which is we are looking into right now. We have to click the dashboard icon under the action button. Let's go to remote proctoring. As you can see on screen, awaiting approval, this small orange pop-up or box is coming up. So when you click on it, and if you see, there are 5 images which I have clicked. Those you can see, and the document followed by it, and the proctor simply have to verify these images and click on approve. Request approved successfully. Simple refresh from the candidate end, and it takes you the candidate to the page where it prompts them to download the iLeon app, the launcher, which is the executable exe file or the zip file, which when downloaded on their system, all they have to do is run that exe file. It opens a small dialog box, which you can, this is how the exe file looks like, IBA launcher. And after you click and run this exe file, it opens a small dialog box wherein you have to punch in the key. This key is nothing right there in front of the screen. They just have to use this option copy key, and when they execute or run that file on their system, they have to punch in that key or paste here, select the browser camera and click on this checkbox, which gives them a notification or a disclaimer to disable the antivirus, and also stating that all running applications on your system will be closed and do you really want to continue. Once we click on launch, the launcher takes control of the candidate system, meaning it takes a minute or two to kill all the background applications, and then it's allows the candidate to start with the assessment. So at this point in time, all the applications and other function keys, copy, paste, alt tab and everything is being disabled. The candidate will simply be allowed to enter into the examination screen, and with the click of mouse or any other keys which are enabled as per the configuration of the assessment, they will be allowed to take the assessment. And any other malpractice, if they try to indulge in, they will be prompted or given that warning by the proctor, and subsequently the alerts will also be generated by the system, which again proctor can analyze and look at those feeds before they take on any actions for the candidate. Now this particular step which we are referring to of downloading the launcher and launching it, I will not be showing that right away on screen, because the moment I will open the launcher and punch in the key, it will disrupt this entire workshop or the session that we are conducting, and I will be taken out from this instance. So that is from a perspective security part which we are trying to showcase or cover here. So once the candidate logs in, they click their registration images, any photo identity that you want them to capture. They can do it with the help of live capture option by displaying the ID on screen, or they can browse and upload the file, followed by the approval from the proctor, which when approved, they will be landing on this page for downloading the launcher and running the actual examination. Now, what exactly will happen after they complete this process is they will be getting into the page where they are given the instructions to read before the assessment starts, the duration and all the basic navigation, how to read the question, how to answer a question, how to navigate between the sections. And once they read these instructions and say that I have read and understood the instructions, they can click on I am ready to begin. So in this particular case, there is a group instruction which is configured. So a maximum time for the candidate to read through the instruction, and the minimum time after which this proceed button will be enabled. So they can quickly read and the proceed button will be enabled. So I'll click on proceed. This is how a typical candidate console or the examination screen looks like. RA Demo 2021 is the name of the assessment. There are two groups tagged to this assessment. One is the MCQ, other is subjective. Each group having one section to it. The MCQ group having section MCQ added to it with 5 questions in that section. This is the number palette on the right hand side of the screen. The color indicates the answered, not answered, marked for review, not visited. That's an indication. The star on the number palette against the question number, it simply indicates the candidate or tells them that this particular question is mandatory for them to attempt, and unless and until they attempt that question, they will not be able to submit this particular group. So if I click on save and next, see this notes here, it shows this question is mandatory for you to attempt. So if I don't attempt and at the end I try to submit this group, then the system will prompt an error to or a message to the candidate that there is one mandatory question, And similarly, we have other, we can time the questions as well, depending on the requirement from the customer. Mark for review and next is simply you can mark it for review, and later on you can revisit this question while you are on this particular section and change your responses. Have you given any response, and if you want to clear them, you can clear these responses. The time left, it shows on top of the screen along with certain other few tools and accessories which are configured, and there are many apart from the notepad and calculator which is configured here for the candidate's reference. And at any given point in time, they can view the general instructions again in case if they have any queries or any confusion, they can revisit the group instruction. And then finally, after uh, giving responses to all the questions, they can submit this particular group. Now, when I click on submit, see, this is the message that comes on screen that there are questions in this group which are mandatory for you to attempt, and unless you answer them, you will not be able to proceed further. So I'll go back to question number 2, give the answer to this question and say save on next. So it turns green. That means I have answered it. And the last question, I'll simply select an option, save and next, and submit this group. So before a group is submitted, there's a summary page that comes in, which tells the candidate that these are the number of questions in group, how many have you answered, not answered, and it takes the candidate's consent before submission. So I say yes. So once I say yes, I'm moving on to the next group, which again has certain instructions configured to it with minimum and maximum time for the instructions for the candidates to read them. So as you can see, this proceed button has been activated again. So I'm back to the other group, which has subjective type of question. So 3 different scenarios we are covering in this short answer or subjective type of question. One is a simple window wherein they'll type the response in a plain editor. This words typed, as you can see, it's getting incremented, and this we can configure the max word count which you are looking for a candidate to type in, beyond which they should not be able to type those number of words on screen. A simple normal plain editor, they can type in their responses and click on save and next. This is the Canvas type of response, especially for certain school or for kids. If you are conducting any assessment and you want them to draw something on screen, maybe image or any figure on screen, so this Canvas type of response can be leveraged for that. And then again you click on save and next. All these questions, the subjective type of questions, they are pushed to our marking platform, where the faculties will then evaluate these responses online from their own system. They'll be given the credentials and they can mark those responses on screen. Next is again another type of short answer. Here the response type is essay, but the editor which is enabled for the candidate to type in the responses is a rich text editor, meaning after they type in their responses, they can use these options on screen to bold, italics, or underline their responses. They can center align or use these alignment options, add superscript or subscript to their responses, and then click on submit. So you say save and next, again something, save and next. And finally, once you answer all these questions, similarly, apart from this, one of the case studies which Ajay had mentioned over the course of presentation, that we also have the capability of conducting the phygital model of examination. So the entire setup, everything remains same. The question appears, and instead of the box, either a plain editor or a rich text editor, it will give an option to the candidate on screen to browse and upload their responses, all those responses for the questions which they have typed it on a piece of paper. And once they have scanned those and have those files on their system, they can scan and upload, browse and upload those responses and click on save and next or submit, and which eventually again goes to the Markers Hub platform for the evaluation by the faculties. So that was more from a candidate console perspective. This is how the screen looks like, and all the elements that we covered. Again, there are a number of questions that can be leveraged as per the requirement, and all those other parameters and related features can be configured. So I'll click on submit and say OK. And that's how my assessment is now done, and I am out from the instance. So it's if you can see, one taken out of 99, one taken is shown on screen. Now we'll quickly in next 5 minutes we'll show you how the proctoring works, or what are the different options that the proctor will be able to see. So once I start giving the assessment as a candidate, the remote assessment, and the system's camera is capturing my video feeds, then immediately after a few minutes, all these feeds starts coming up from the data center to the proctor's dashboard, and after they log in, and this is how it looks on screen. So it shows all the candidates which are mapped to a particular proctor together on a screen. They can use this scroll option to view all the candidates, and any a particular feed that they want to view of a candidate, they can simply click on this video play option. But before we jump on to that, I'll cover the alerts which are thrown by the system. The AI/ML alerts is the multiple face found, a low match found, face not found, partial face found, gadget, which is nothing but the mobile in this case, which the system is detecting, and the voice detection. Any background voice is also captured, and the proctor, along with the help of system generated alerts, can take a decision based on that. Attempt is number of attempts. It shows here on screen whether it is in progress or completed. When you click on click to view candidate journey, so the first tab on that is the candidate registration details, where along with the 5 registration images, if there is any application image which has been shared by the customer is uploaded in the system, that is also shared. So the proctor can easily identify this after the assessment starts, whether the candidate who is actually giving the assessment and the one who had applied for this assessment, whether those two people are same or not. And of course the ID card he can see just for sake of validation. The candidate journey details, it shows all the step-by-step activity which I as a candidate has performed after I launched the assessment. So I launched it, I performed the self-registration activity, then how much time it took me, and the timestamp also it comes with it, and the response, whether it was successful or not, so on for the other activities of uploading the documents, downloading the app, and taking the examination. From which OS he is giving the examination can be seen here. In this case, this candidate had given the examination from an Android device, so it shows that type of the OS, and subsequently the other activity of giving the assessment, and then the end page to it. The other one is the candidate time level details, a small quick snapshot of the holistic view of the total time candidate spent on a console, and what was or he's spending right now, the time which is remaining. Did he consume any grace time while the assessment was on? In case of any interruption, the last backup time, which group he is currently in, and which section and question number. All these certain basic details are covered as part of the candidate time level details. Now, these are the few actions which the proctor can take. Again, there are many more buttons to it, the actions which the admin can eventually take a call and maybe disqualify the candidate or force submit their assessment, lock, unlock, and reset their session. All these comes under the purview of admin control. For a proctor, based on the agreement between the customer and the delivery team, these certain few action buttons are enabled for them, which I'll explain one by one. Malpractice is something if you identify any suspicious behavior by the candidate, you can simply use this option. That particular feed, video feed, will be termed as malpractice suspected and stored in the database, which can be later analyzed for rechecking and confirmation or audit or tracking perspective. Any message that you want to send to the candidate while the assessment is on and the session is in progress, you can use this option. Force submit in case if they are not able to submit or facing some technical glitch, the proctor can force submit their ongoing session. So if I click on save for a video feed, that's how the feed starts coming in. So starting the lowest or rather the first one which had come will show as video 1 till the latest one keeps coming and popping up here as in the number getting incremented, the count of the video. So the timestamp, it shows at what time the last feed was updated and pushed here. The details of the candidate name, the login ID and the photo is captured here. You can click on these feeds while the assessment is on and analyze in case if the candidate is performing any sort of malpractice or any alerts which are thrown by the system can be used using these alert section. Screen recording is another important and very critical feature which has come up especially for the exams which the candidate is giving from their mobile, from their laptop or desktop devices. Mobile, it is still being worked upon and it is part of roadmap. But if I am the candidate and if I am giving the examination from either laptop or desktop, then screen recording also gets captured, which the proctor can analyze just to have a look at what the candidate is up to while he was on the examination screen, any suspicious or any malpractice or any continuous click on screens or some sort of activity they can analyze and take the actions accordingly. Message, as I was explaining, you can select the list of predefined messages and click on send. That goes to the candidate as a warning while they are giving on screen or simply as a message and just to alert them to be very vigilant while they are taking the assessment. And you select that message, or in case if you want to send some other customized message, you can use this option and click on send. And these feeds again you can sort as.
Karan, yeah, sorry. So in the interest of time for Q&A, can you please wrap up the demo in the next 2 minutes, please?
Absolutely, Darshan. I was just about to close the demonstration and I was about to hand it over to you. And so, yeah, so that's all from our end as far as the live demonstration is concerned. And I'm sure this will find you in the best interest, and all these capabilities and security aspect that we tried to showcase will certainly call for a good collaboration. Yes. So over to you, Darshan.
Yeah, thanks, Karan.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'll stop sharing my. I'll stop sharing my screen. Yeah.
Yes, please. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's
so. Yeah, would request Ayush to bring up the slide. So we'll just take a minute to kind of look at the testimonials. Yeah, if you can just stay over here for a minute for the academic leaders to take a look at the testimonials, the clients whom we have worked with. So would like to introduce Dibakar Reddy, our practice head at higher education, to kind of cover the next steps. Over to you, Dibakar.
Sure. Yeah, thanks, Ajay. Thanks, Karan. Again, very good afternoon to everyone. All the management teams from various institutes across India. I hope it was an informative and very relevant session in these times when the whole academic schedule is disrupted due to the pandemic. Campuses are closed and there is so much of uncertainty. So how to conduct assessments in an effective way, in a very transparent way, in a very foolproof way. I think that's a concern for all the academic institutions. So I hope it was relevant for you. So when it comes to assessments, I think, I mean, already as informed earlier by Krishnan, TCS is the number one. We have close to, I mean, 80% of very high stake and very large scale assessments in India are conducted by TCS on our TCS iON platform. And probably globally also, like we are the leading assessment service provider. So from last close to a decade now, so we have developed a very robust framework, platform, the processes which are which are enabling these assessments to be conducted in an extremely foolproof way, right? And the same platform we're leveraging for these remote assessments. There's some change in the way the students log in. Instead of logging in from a test center, they log in from remotely. So some change in the technology, but the majority of it remains same, the overall framework. So there is absolutely nothing for you to kind of think twice before deciding who to go with when it comes to assessments. So there are many other providers in the market today because there is so much demand for remote assessments. But there might be like some players who are offering at a very cheap price. But I don't think that it's worth that risk of going with some very unknown or new player when it comes to a very, very important activity like assessments, because it is a matter of credibility for your institution. So I think there should not be any compromise on this. You should go with someone very trusted who has a very proven track record when it comes to conducting assessments. So that's my suggestion to all of you to consider us, to kind of, you can completely entrust us the whole thing. We'll take care of it. So very few basic steps. So if you are interested, post this webinar, what you can do is you can write to us at that email provided at the bottom of the screen, inquiry.tcsion.tcs.com. And one of our product consultants will get in touch with you. And if you have further queries, we'll clarify, and then we'll help you to in the signing up a contract, followed by the setup process as mentioned earlier in the webinar by Ajay. So there are some basic hygiene checks like IRC and DRC, just to ensure that when the real exams happens, the students have a very predictable and issue-less experience and a very smooth experience. So we will preempt any issues before the exam starts, and all that activities can be kicked off. And of course, so that will be done by our delivery team. So yeah, do write to us, and if you have any questions, we can take few now. I know we don't have much time, but yeah, as much as possible, I'll try to take the questions. And then, once you write to us, we'll also get in touch with you. And after that, we can discuss the questions. So we'll open the forum for questions.
Yeah, thanks, Dibakar. So we're just opening up a small poll. Request all of you to take the poll. So while we take the poll, the forum is open for question and answers. So request all of you to feed in your questions in the Q&A window. Yeah, I think we have our first question. So any details on archivals and custody of the data of exam evaluation for posterity?
Sure. Ajay, you want to take it?
So in terms of data archival, it is completely dependent on the way we want to structure our.
Yeah, Ajay, your voice is very feeble.
Is it better now?
Yes, please.
Okay. So in terms of data archival and custody of data, it completely depends on the nature of contract we are getting into. So from our perspective, the moment the examination is over, the course are handed over to you and it is published, we can archive all the data and either give it to you or it is completely archived data. So we can work on any of those models.
Yeah, thanks, Ajay. So the next question is, what is the mechanism of pre-exam authentication of candidature? If you can elaborate a bit.
Yeah. So pre-exam authentication of a candidate is dependent on the self-image which the candidates are submitting at time of self-registration. So there are 5 images which candidates are supposed to submit. And along with that, they need to submit an ID card, which is not mandatory, but depending on the requirement, we can have candidates submit an ID card proof. These 5 images along with the ID card proof goes to the proctor for authentication, who would in turn authenticate that the candidate is the one who is supposed to take the assessment. And then only the candidate would be able to start it. That is at the first level before even candidate is started. Once the candidate has started the assessment on the proctoring screen, if you recall the proctoring screen, the thumbnails of candidate video, on that the application photograph of the candidate, which candidate has provided at the time of submitting their application, is displayed along with the self-registration photograph taken in every 10 seconds. So 10 seconds the application photograph is displayed, 10 seconds self-registration photograph is displayed, and the proctor can view there also whether the candidate is same as the one who has submitted the application. So those are the checks that we have inbuilt into system to check whether the candidate is the same candidate who is supposed to take the exam.
Yeah. So the next question is, how much time is required for a proctor to approve for one candidate?
For a proctor, okay, I'll take a step back on that. Our recommended approach for proctor to candidate mapping is, if it's a big exam where we want proctor to authenticate the candidate, a proctor should not have more than 10 candidates assigned to him or her. Proctor would typically take not more than 20 to 30 seconds because it's a manual evaluation that they need to do. They'll be getting the 5 set of images which candidates has clicked and the ID card that they have uploaded. And they need to manually check whether those are of the same candidate and approve that. So it doesn't take more than 20 to 30 seconds before the examination. And typically what we recommend is, or what we do is, if my examination is going to start at 9 a.m., I would enable self-registration of the candidate, say 30 minutes or an hour before the examination time. So that candidate get enough time for, and the proctors also get enough time to minutely cross-verify the candidate authenticity and allow them to take the exam. The exam would start at 9 only, but the self-registration part can be completed much before. I hope I am able to answer that question for that.
Yeah. So the next question is assessments part of the standard TCS Ion ERP agreement for existing Ion ERP customers?
Yeah, I'll take that. No, it is not. So we have a separate solution or our ERP platform called Digital Campus. So that provides, that does an exam management module. It has an exam management module. However, it doesn't cover the remote assessments that we just presented today.
Yes, thanks, Debagan. So the next question is, how is the evaluation collection of paper done and how it will be shared with the students, including logging of grievance addressal?
Yeah, so I'll take that question. So in terms of evaluating the question, the answer sheet of the candidate, as I mentioned, we use digital marking hub for evaluation purpose. Once the evaluation is done, and there are RTI links generated for every candidate response, their answer sheet, and the candidates are shared those RTI links through which they can view the evaluated answer sheet of theirs, and they can get a full view of that. For grievance redressal, we have a custom built solution that would be a separate add-on exercise that we'll have to carry out. But we have a mechanism by which the complete flow of candidate RTI response or RTI request can be handled.
Yeah, thanks, Ajay. Request everyone to take the poll, please, if you haven't yet taken the poll. So it should be visible on your polling section on your right-hand side of the screen. So the next question, and please do input all the questions in the Q&A window. Yeah, the next question is, how will the proctoring work if a candidate is looking down, not looking at the camera while writing a pen and paper exam in which the answer sheets are uploaded later?
Yeah, so for a pen and paper exam where we are trying to do a remote proctoring, the question is valid that it might be difficult to proctor it because they are not going to do anything on the screen except for reading the question. A very simple way to address this is to ask candidate to place the laptop or the camera a little distant from them on the table where they are responding to, so that their entire hand and table content is also visible. So there it would be more of ensuring that candidate is responding on their own and not having any other reference material available. So depending on the camera placement, it can be achieved.
Yeah, the next question is, does our platform support math symbols, circuit diagram elements? So maybe if you can elaborate a bit more on the support editors.
So we do have a rich text editor support provided, and that rich text editor essentially allows to enter complex mathematical formulas and equations. The circuit diagram elements also, some of them are covered, but an elaborate circuit diagram that can, if we need to cover that, I would recommend best is to have it created on a piece of paper and scan and upload. However, for maths problem, we have a rich text editor which can be used.
Yeah. So yeah, this question is to Dibakar. So the question is, elaborate on the procedural aspects in signing up for remote assessments for our institution.
Yeah, so yeah, once you write to us on this email ID, so one of our evangelists will get in touch with you. So we'll try to understand your kind of unique requirements, the number of students, the number of subjects, the time frame, and those logistical details, and for planning the exam. And then we have to kind of finalize the pricing aspects based on how many candidates will be taking it. And post that, yeah, I mean, there is a contract signing process, which at this point because of pandemic, we're keeping it all digital or electronic. So there'll be kind of an email acceptance of the contract would be something that would suffice now to proceed. Yeah, so once you accept the contract terms and conditions and the pricing and the other terms and conditions, we can initiate our delivery teams will come into picture, get in touch with you to plan the kind of when we can start the IRC, DRC, and the next steps. Yeah. So.
Yeah. Yeah, thanks, Dibakar. So the next question is test from home possible with this remote assessment? Could you please elaborate?
Darshan, can you?
Yeah, I'll repeat. So the question is test from home possible with this remote assessment? Could you please elaborate?
Yes, test from home is possible. The intention behind remote assessment is that we enable a candidate to take the exam anytime, anywhere. So taking it from home is definitely one of the intended objective of this.
Yeah, so a continuation to the editors we support in terms of diagrams. Also, if we can answer, Ajay.
Yeah, circuit diagram I mentioned. We provide things like Scratchpad and Notepad, which currently we don't send for marking hub review. So what we rather suggest is that the candidate should write or create the circuit diagram in piece of paper and scan and upload that.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, request the college managements to take the poll. If you have any questions, please do input them in the Q&A window. As we are taking the questions, we'll try and answer as many questions as possible. So the next question is there any plagiarism check for subjective type of answers?
Yes, we do a plagiarism check for subjective answers. It can be enabled. We use it currently predominantly for hands-on programming questions for the assessments that we are doing for TCS internal as well as a few of the technical universities. So that is very much available as part of the plan.
The next question is on the pricing details. So so let me just kind of take that. So request this college management to write to us at our email ID enquiry.tcsion@tcs.com, and based on our discussion, your requirement, we can give you the pricing. And there is a question also, is it free of cost? Yeah, it is not free of cost. So there will be a price associated per student based. So do reach out to us and we'll be happy to connect and discuss your specific requirement. Yeah, any more questions, please do put it in the Q&A window. So I'm just looking at the next question. What if the test is digital and the candidate is looking down somewhere and pretending that he or she is typing with the keyboard?
So when the candidate face is not fully visible, there would be an alert raised for proctor to look at that the face is partially visible, and then the proctor would be able to check whether there is a suspected malpractice being happening there. Based on their understanding of what they are seeing in the video, they have the option of sending a message to the candidate to either ask them to show their complete face properly or readjust their camera, or a warning message to be sent to the candidates. So those provisions are already there.
Yeah, just add on to that, Ajay. So how can the proctor make a decision? And the alerts, if you can just elaborate a bit on that.
Yeah, so the proctor decision making is first is AI ML alerts which are there. They act as a aid to the proctor to reach a decision, because if AI alerts are there for a video which are saying that multiple faces are found or partial faces visible or low matches there, then that is acting as an aid for the proctor to take a decision whether there is something wrong going on. And currently, what we normally do as a practice, this is in continuation to that question. I think there is a follow-up question on that. That is proctor decision final, and how can proctor make that decision? So, see, what we do is to the proctors, when the proctoring screen demo was being given by Karan, there were a few options which we didn't show there because we wanted to give you a glimpse of how the proctoring screen looks. So the proctor, we are saying that can send a message, can mark a candidate as using unfair means. Those are the two options that they can use, right? When they are marking at unfair mean at a particular video, then it gets recorded against that video that unfair mean flag was raised. When the proctors are sending a message to the candidate, that get recorded in form of a log, which is generated post-exam. Apart from that, we can also provide capability for the proctor to discontinue a candidate session, which is force submit their session. If they find that, as an institute, you feel appropriate, that proctor can take that decision. Otherwise, post-exam, we do an unfair mean analysis report preparation for all the entire exam process. So proctor decision, I won't say is final. It can be subjective. That is where we have a post-exam check on that to check what all messages have been sent, for which video unfair mean has been marked, and then take a subjective decision.
Yeah, thanks, Ajay. The next question is, what is the maximum size of the file which can be uploaded?
Yeah, we don't have a size limitation on that. However, for practical purpose, looking at the bandwidth available at candidate's end, we would suggest or recommend that the file size should be, say, less than 2 MB. However, from platform perspective, there is no restriction.
Thanks, Ajay. So the next question is, can the students take up their exam from their smartphones?
Yes, we provide a secured launcher on Android platform. It can be taken from the smartphone. And as long as you don't have questions which require candidate to type answer, it is MCQ, MSQ, fill in the blanks type of questions, match the following type of questions, they can very well be taken from a mobile.
Yeah. So the next question is, what is the data retention time? What is the data retention time? Yeah.
So from our, as I mentioned, I think this question was asked earlier also, data archival and other things. So from data retention period, it is contractually driven. We don't have any restriction that it would be retained with us for 1 month or 3 months or 9 months. Based on the contractual terms, we'll decide on the archival period.
Yeah. The next question is, what will be the time for which the student's video can be stored?
Yeah, so the same point on that, Darshan, it is contractually driven how much time we want the video to be retained.
Okay. So the next question is, what if a student opens a new window while taking the exam?
So in our secured launcher-based examination, when I say launcher-based, it's an application exe file that the candidate have to download and then take exam from there. When the exam is conducted using secured launcher, ILEON app, then it takes complete control of candidate system. Candidate cannot open a new tab or a new window or a new application. They cannot do anything. The moment they try to do anything, their examination session gets terminated and an incident is raised on that. So that is the whole purpose why we have this secured launcher or application based assessment. That the candidate should not be able to do anything else but take assessment from that system during that assessment.
Yeah, I think we'll just take a few more questions. We are already exceeding the time. So the next question is our platform, is the system iOS compatible?
So we have a launcher for Windows, we have launcher for Android, we have launcher for Ubuntu Linux. Mac OS, we don't have a launcher. If it is a non-launcher based assessment, then it can be taken from a Mac operating system. It's a roadmap item for us. We'll have it available in next 6 months.
Yeah, I think we'll just take the last question. Can student take screenshots during the exams?
Yeah, students can take a screenshot or a photo of the screen. As I said, if it is when we are using a launcher, no other application on the system would be running. The only way they can take a screenshot is by using a mobile phone, which would get detected in the video and raised to the proctor. If not, and if the video is not able to detect the mobile because of the way they place the mobile, and still they take a screenshot of the examination console with question on it and post it on a Telegram group to get answers for. We have a provision of having a watermark on the examination console, which is a unique identifier for that candidate. So even if I take a screenshot and post it somewhere, it can be traced uniquely back to me. And, we can take appropriate action.
Yeah. So thanks, Ajay. I think we're already 15 minutes past the time. So so request the college management to reach out to us if they have any further questions. We'll be happy to schedule a call to take and have a detailed discussion with them. So please do reach out to us for any further inquiries. You can reach out to us at inquiry.tcsi.com.
Darshan, just 1 minute. I think there is a question from Sharad Maheshwar sir. Sir, I will definitely answer in terms of the improvements that have been happened in last 1 year. I would say significant improvements have taken place. Right from the way we are doing proctoring to the reports which are getting generated, the type of questions we are supporting, multiple things have changed in the system from last time. So we'll connect separately with you, Maheshwar sir.
Yeah, thanks, Ajay. Yeah. So if you have any further queries, please do reach out to us at enquiry.tcsion@tcs.com. Do write to us with your interest, and we'll be happy to schedule a call to answer all your questions and meet your assessment requirements. So thank you. Thank you for joining in. Thanks, Ajay. Thanks, Dibakar. Thanks, Karan, for all joining in. Thank you all for joining in. We are signing off now. Have a great day.
Thank you.
Bye.